Welcome to the Kelly Sullivan Walden Show, where we explore nighttime dreams, daytime desires, and the best ways to transform the tragic into magic. Because let's face it, we all dream, we all have our blessings, and we all have our challenges, myself included. And I don't want any of us to take any of those things lying down, if you know what I mean. I just wrote a book entitled A Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste. It comes out spring of 2023. And in the meantime, I'm excited to explore the topic with you, whether it relates to your waking or sleeping dreams, because we're dreaming all the time, people. So let's make it the best dream possible. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Yay, Timothy Courtney, the Palm Springs psychic. I'm so grateful to have you on this show with me. Thank you so much for showing up.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. So for those who don't yet know you, I'm going to just tell people a little bit about you. Timothy Courtney is a psychic medium to many people, including business professionals, detectives, medical professionals, artists, performers, professional athletes, and Hollywood celebrities. Timothy Courtney has brought a clear, authentic, and inspiring attitude to the universe of psychic mediumship phenomena. For over 2 decades as a psychic and medium, he's helped hundreds with his undeniable ability to communicate with those who have passed on and confirm past, present, and to be able to foresee the future events for others. Timothy is connected, says Shirley MacLaine. Oh, he's got her stamp of approval. I think that goes a long way. His website is palmspringspsychicmedium.com. That's palmspringspsychicmedium.com. And he's on TikTok regularly under medium Timothy Courtney, but he is maximum. He's a maximum medium. The medium to the max. And some of you might know Timothy from my Ask Dr. Dream show from last year when we did the Searching for Satya series. Timothy came in towards the end and was part of like the mic drop moment of us getting some pretty powerful and undeniable data and confirmation that helped us to find that it was sad news to find out that she had passed. But I think the good news was that there was some clarity and hopefully a ripple effect of healing for the family. And it's never a happy thing, but I think clarity helps. So anyway, Timothy, your gift is such a blessing to the world and particularly to me. And I'm so grateful to call you my friend. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Kelly. It's like, that was a great experience. I loved doing that because we started as a psychic reading, where it was actually because we're looking to find her, and it's been some years that this has been going on. And then as that kicked in, I remember tuning in the very beginning. I'm like, and I kept hearing, she's telling me, she's showing me. The language changed real quickly from I'm seeing, I'm hearing. It was like, she's telling me, she's showing me. And I knew right away when I'm saying someone is showing me, telling me, and having me feel something, that they've passed. Okay. So that was the clue real quick. Was not that I'm seeing it myself and what I'm hearing, but they're showing me, she's telling me. So I'm like, okay, that happens when someone's on the other side.
Okay, so already right out of the gate, one of the things I shared on the post is I'd like us in this day and age of, in some way, like powerlessness. So many of us are give our power away over to politicians, to the news, to other influencers and celebrities and psychics and healers. we in many ways are addicted to giving our power away.
Mhm.
And one of the things I teased about this show is that we would learn a few things about how to develop and grow some of our own innate psychic gifts. And you already started us off with something, you even just kind of differentiating between
Mhm.
what it is to be psychic versus what it is to
Mhm.
be a medium,
Mhm. Mhm.
tuning into what's currently happening versus somebody on the other side. So can you maybe clarify a
Yeah.
little bit more of that?
Yeah, we'll hit a couple of spots. One thing I think that could be really helpful to everybody, anybody, is is I made a mistake a couple times. I like to. By the way, I just celebrated 32 years of doing this. We've hit another mark. But what I really realize is that there's this. Sometimes we want to open up as a psychic if you're learning, or if you're in the beginning, or wondering if you have some of this ability. I really want to suggest first, don't open that space in an open space. In other words, I'm saying, if I go downtown Palm Springs, I'm thinking I want to kind of see what the vibe is. I suggest never opening yourself up to all that. There's a few thousand people out there. You're going to pick up everything, and it's going to be too much and overload. And then we wonder why I don't want this. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. But sometimes we're choosing wrong spaces, wrong circumstances. And what I
Mm.
would say that's always helpful is, you want to be by yourself in the beginning. You need to be by yourself and do this on your own. Does that help? And I would
Yes.
go a little further as I always suggest being in a dark space. Close your eyes. We're talking about beginning here. Okay. It's a little different for me. I can pop in now if I need to, but what you want to do is start in a dark space. When I work with students, when I have people one-on-one, I have them sometimes go into the bathroom or into a room that's totally dark. Okay. Have them sit down, and when they do a little bit of meditation, and it's like a clearing and the time to just open up this empty space so that something that can come through. But if you have light and you're hearing other noise and stuff in the beginning, that's a huge distractions, light refractions. You don't know if you're getting something real or not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That can happen later when you're more advanced. So I always say, keep yourself by yourself in the beginning. And it's kind of a bit of a meditation. And what's really cool is find out where your strength is or what seems to come to you. Some people hear things more. They clairaudience. You hear more. Sometimes people are seeing images in like film strip. That's the way mine started with, like, was like watching a film.
Mm-hmm.
Universal put a film in my head and here it took off. So, and I just watched that. So that's clairvoyance. We also feel and sense, clairsentience, sensing something. I sense something, I feel something. And claircognizance is that when we use the phrase gut feeling about
Mm-hmm.
something, we all have that. We all have claircognizance, and we use that. We're just starting at the bottom rung of the psychic scale. That's all. So we might find in that dark space, I hear things more. Or what I see things. That's what I'm seeing, images. I'm seeing that film strip. Or you may say, I'm sensing things. I'm sensing something warmth or, happiness, or I'm feeling something that's coming close to me. And those are all telling you something. And when you do, like in readings, when you should get going, you have a chance to start putting those together. Because I have all three of those. And I say three of the upper ones. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I have all three of those. So I'm always listening to what I'm hearing, and I'm always seeing what I'm seeing, being shown. And then I'm also feeling and sensing. I can tell this person is very depressed. It may be your husband right now. I could say, tune into him right with us here and say,
Mm.
he's having some depression. And in this depression, it's like, what's happening? This is what that's about, which may give you an opportunity, getting off a little bit, but it's like to
Mm.
help better understand what's going on with him so you can communicate better. So
Mm.
what I'm getting at is you're going to find different ways and strengths that are yours. And it's going to start small. It'll start, and maybe like, oh my God, I saw this. Now, in that beginning, as we're all looking for placement, people say, how do I know if it's real? How do I know if I know what I'm seeing? It's got to do with this. Well, typically, and like when I first really knew without a shadow of a doubt, that was undeniable, was I was actually did a type of meditation. I was guided through. I had no idea what we were doing. Holding hands with two other people, one left. There was 500 and some people in this room. They say, get with people you don't know, never met before. So they did walked us through colors, which you can do as a beginner. We were in a dark room. Someone spoke and gave us colors, the color red and what color red meant. We went to the next color, and on down for about 7 colors. And then they said, we want you to concentrate on the person on your left. Now concentrate on the person on your right. So they gave us a couple minutes before each one. And just to show you kind of the idea of how this might happen is I was a total non-believer. It's like, I thought this was bullcrap, there's no way people don't do it. And I had a very borrowed belief, I call them, a borrowed belief from my family, friends, from people I was around, growing up in a religious background, coming from Kentucky. There was a lot that's told me everything that was not good. You can't do it. And they're all quacks and that type of thing. So what I did in the very beginning, that first one, I concentrated on the person on the left and on the right. And right away, it was just that undeniable. And I share this because it's like, this is how it can happen. You want to have a direction with where you're going when you do this. When you're looking for psychically something in there and you're listening to hear, see, feel. If you're doing one of those, it's like, be sure you're connected to something and not just, I'm doing it. Okay. So maybe this is for you.
You're connected to something. What do you mean?
Something, somewhere, situation, or somebody. So maybe you're going to think about that person you just met at the coffee house. Okay. And I want to tune in to that person just a little bit here.
Okay.
What was there? Is there something you want to show me to hear, something for me to feel? And then and you might feel something like, I'm all of a sudden I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling fear in there, but it's not mine. It's coming from them. So and that's the thing to be mindful of, separate you, that this is not about you. It's about what you've directed it to. If you want to do something, there's a situation in my house, what's going on with my family right now, someone who's not feeling well. Is there something you want me to show? Family places get real muddy. So I advise not doing that in the beginning. I'm more advanced. I can do that easier, but it's still a muddy place.
I mean, to our own family.
Yes. Anyone we're close to, because we are emotionally attached. So we're going to attach that to it. It's so difficult to stay separated. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to know that, oh my gosh, I see cancer. I was thinking that cancer is getting worse. It's not going to get better. No one wants to say that, and you don't want to believe it. So the waters get muddy, and you can't help them, and you're not going to help you. So I always suggest, that's why I said the person I met at the coffee house. You barely know. Maybe you tune in. What I'm seeing is dogs. Maybe something simple. I'm seeing dogs. I say, oh, this guy must have a bunch of dogs. It's like there's just little pieces.
I wonder if we could try something in real time, even now, even though it's not dark, we've got light around us and we're not in a coffee house. But if we were to, I'm just trying to imagine tuning into a relative stranger, and thinking of so if I was like a neighbor, for example, that I don't know, I'm picturing a neighbor right now. So maybe we could everybody who's watching or listening could tune into a relative stranger or somebody that you just met.
Yeah, it can be someone, it can even be a situation, it could be something about a job, or with someone or something. It can be something. Try not to make it real close to you right now, because you'll muddy the waters, even if you're doing it for yourself. The beginning time, just there's too much going on for you to learn and there to separate. So right now, it's like I would look at someone that in that situation, or maybe it's someone, if my friend is, thinking about a job right now, I wonder how that's going to go for her. It can be something, just put it a little more distant. Okay?
So in some way, I feel like just to recap, some of the steps are to either, if we can specifically go into a dark room, great. But if we can't, then at least we can close our eyes and we can at least do the best we can to clear the.
Well, it's interesting. You're doing this because that's because it really
is.
Just
listening, I'm like, looks like I'm swimming.
Right. And there's something to that. That's clearing it out.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I will say that we could do. I'm going to bring this in because I think it's important. Is the dark room part. There are other things. What we're doing really is, first of all, is clearing a space. And that's why the dark room. You don't see anything. It's just a dark room. And you have nothing to add to what's going on. It's just that dark space. In this place, also dancing, anything that uplifts your vibration, dancing. Some people it's painting, it could be drawing, it could be dancing. And I love this. You ever heard it? You said to yourself, you said, I went dancing last night and I was out of my body, it's like was lost in the music. In that space, you are a psychic. In that place where you are, I know nothing's happening. I'm lost in the music. I don't even know anybody's around. Nothing's happening. I'm just connected with that space that's up high vibration.
That's a good suggestion. I mean, that's so
great.
It's not just, I mean, it seems like sometimes what prompts us to want to become more psychic is often some of the fear-based things like, ooh, is somebody okay? Is this thing going to work out? But you're kind of, it's almost like we're going beyond fear. We're stepping into a higher realm in a way
100%.
to like get into that higher place. I just lit a candle.
Yeah.
I just got some incense burning.
Yeah. All of a sudden you do exactly. I do things like that. You do things to raise your vibration. And that's really important. We're either doing this, if you're fearful about it and wondering there's bad things and all this, I say, don't do it. Don't do it, because it's like a remote control on the TV, whatever channel you put that on is what you get. It's what you're going to watch. It's what you're going to get. So if horror films are not your thing and, they make you feel awful and then you think they're awful and they're evil and stuff, don't stop at the horror film. Get past it immediately and get to the channel that makes you feel good. Right? So it's the same thing. We want to sense. So we want to be in love. Anytime that do this, that I'm always in love. So it's out of love and joy and compassion that I'm doing this. Okay.
Interesting.
So what you're doing is caring. You're caring about the person. It's not just to do it, it's to care. So when that focus is there, the fear is there's no place for fear.
I want to just draw a parallel to what you're sharing about kind of how to tap in psychically. It's also very similar, almost copy and paste for how to work with dreams. Some people talk about how they really get upset when they don't dream about their departed loved ones. They don't come so quickly. And sometimes other people who aren't related will dream about their departed loved one. And the person who lost somebody gets jealous or like, wait a minute, it was my mom, it was my best friend, it was my husband. Why is my neighbor dreaming about them and not me? What am I, chopped liver? But it's like, but you just said it. Sometimes it's too close. There's too much emotion. It's almost like a crowded room. It's hard for something new to enter. Is that right?
It is. There's too much space. We are so emotionally charged sometimes. I've had that with people with medium readings. They, some, like you said it perfectly, it's like, I had a lady whose husband's passed, and then it's like her two kids, and the two kids have been seeing dad, but mom's not. And so mom's upset. Yeah, a lot of times they're trying to understand and figure it out. I'm like, there's nothing to figure out. I said, your emotions are really high in the extreme. So it gets in a place of, they will be there and they are there with you. I said, but right now it's just going to be some time. You will know, you will see. And then I remind them, and I think you probably know this, is, have you ever sensed them though? Do you sense they're with you?
Right.
They're like, yes.
That counts.
Yes. So that kind of discounts the part you got to see them. You feel them. You sent them. That's your clair. And then once again, that's your clairsentience working. Okay. I sense them. I feel them. So it's not really true. I'd say 99% of the time that they're not. We just needed to get to the one that is yours, the way it's coming to you.
Exactly. So it's not even to say that person isn't coming through.
Right.
it may be they've been here the whole time. They haven't even left. It's just
Yeah.
you can't sense them because the grief is
Right.
so big. It's
Absolutely.
crowding it out.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's a misnomer to say they're not coming
Right.
to me in dreams. They're not coming to me in
Yes.
my life. It's
Right.
maybe there's too much that needs to be cleared
Right.
out. And also, I think you brought up a very interesting point. If we do want to connect with that person who's on the other side, there's something in the high vibration that might make us a more like a almost like I'm picturing it like a helicopter landing pad where there's nothing in the way, where it's clear, where
Yeah.
they know where to land. So
Yeah.
we have to be a clearing for that, and maybe even a
Absolutely.
like a bright space where there's a lot of light so they can
Yes.
sense us.
Right.
So instead of just like running from fear, which can be a strong emotion, like
Yeah.
dance and get into a high
Yeah.
vibration, then call them
Yes.
in.
It is that heavy. It's like when we are so filled with emotion, we typically powerful emotions that are hurtful. We are typically at a very low vibration. We are operating at ones and twos. You know, that's just surviving, just getting
Yeah.
through. When you mentioned the helicopter, I always explain it this work, how this work and how we do this as a psychic or a medium. And I always say I use the helicopter. That's my thing too.
Oh, cool. I'm tapping
Yeah,
into you.
yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
So there's a helicopter
You're
on the
good,
ground.
Tim.
And I think this is helpful to explain to so many people. The helicopter on the ground, and when we look at it and the helicopter's not turned on yet, we see the blades. We see the blades, and we know that's a helicopter, right? So as that helicopter goes on and the blades start going around and around and around and around, they go faster and faster, the helicopter starts lifting off the ground into the air, right? Because the vibration is so strong and the vibration is so fast that it now can be in the air and move throughout, right? But we can't see the blades anymore, right? But we know they're there. And that's the same thing that's happening in that place when we lift and you raise your vibration, that's still there. And so are those who have passed, those are our loved ones on the other side. You know, that's all available.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I work on a team, I always say. I have a team. People always say, it's not just me. I have a team. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people I've been with. Anyone who's passed and on the other side, you know, that's part of my team. They come through every time, you know. So that blade vibration is what you're doing no matter what you do. Like you said, you can light candles, you can do this, anything you know that's going to lift you. You're now going to be closer into a psychic space that you can help yourself. And it could be something that, you know, am I supposed to be on that today or do this today? Or you'll be able to get more at sensing. And I think a lot of people sense more than what they will see or hear in the beginning.
Oh, that is so interesting. And I'm just remembering when my dog Woofy died years ago, maybe 10 years ago. There was a friend of mine who's very psychic, and she was with me, kind of holding me as Woofy passed. And she whispered in my ear, and if I was in any other state of mind, I might have smacked her. But she got in the perfect way, and she said, you can, like, a big part of your grief right now is feeling disconnected to her, but it's like a radio station. You can tune into her, but she's not where your grief is. It's like you have to tune into this higher frequency, and then you don't have a reason to grieve necessarily. Yes, her big, beautiful, fluffy body isn't there to roll around on the ground with, but what I valued most was the spiritual connection to her, which is never gone. So was she kind of right in that?
Yeah, I agree with that thing. I say with that, there's a powerful connection that takes place that's there with all of us. Okay, because always I hear people, oh, well, aren't we all psychic? Or, you know, every now and then you'll hear that, and I'm like, yeah, I said we are, but do we use it? There's a difference in saying, yeah, we are psychic. It's kind of flip it to throw it out there, but it's like, are you doing it? Are you using it? Do you know how? And here's the biggies. I am huge on this. I wouldn't do this work as a psychic or a medium because the psychics always help in creating a better life, always, ever. But if there wasn't a good reason to do this, for me to just tell you stuff, who cares? That would be all about me. But it's like when I know it takes your life in either of those readings, when I realize you come in this way, and when we're done, you go this way. It always raises everybody. It's always a shift. It's always for the better. It's always in a loving place that raises someone, gives them exactly what they need. Sometimes may not even hear what you want to hear sometimes, but it's exactly what you need, and it shifts them to move forward. So in that is why I say is we have connection for ourselves. And like your friend said, in that way, we just have to be careful, as I mentioned earlier, about muddy waters. So raising your vibration, but when we're with people that we love, and if we're going to grieve, grieve. I tell my clients, I said, go grieve. I said, you don't have to try to be in touch with them right now. Right. You're going through a grieving process, and that's what that is. You're going to feel pain. You're not going to snap out and bring the vibration to 10 right now. So if you could give yourself a break, give yourself permission to give yourself time and the love and the caring right now. And then you say, we can, you'll be able to sense this more or pick up on this more as time goes by. Yeah. And that's sweet. I love it.
Yeah, there needs to be a space. I know that when that friend of mine was whispering in my ear, I let myself grieve. I think that we can't just stifle it, because then it becomes some other sickness or illness in the body or something. It's got to come out. But it was good for me to know that there was some way that I could connect with her, and it made it put a little bit of it assuaged some of my grief, not all of it for sure, but a lot of it, to know that was there. So I'm hoping this show and the work that you do gives people that hope. Like, yes, we absolutely miss the people that we love so much, and it's healthy to grieve, and yet it's in some way the ball is in our court. Like you said, we all have the ability. It's like we all have a telephone, but do we use it? Do we know how to pick it up, how to press the buttons? Or is it just this? For my birthday, my husband bought me a new phone, a new iPhone. I've been using an iPhone 6 Plus. I know, cue the laughter. Hello, it's old. But I have a new phone that's sitting in a box. I haven't even opened it. So it's as if I don't even have it. So if we don't use it, we lose it.
Don't use it. Right. I got to jump in on this because this is so fun. I love it. If you've seen the videos that are like on TikTok or Instagram, if anyone has seen these, but they show kids who are in their teens now, and they hand them remember the phone we said plug in the wall and you had to stand right there by the phone and pick up the phone and rotary drive? They give them those phones, and those kids are hysterical watching them try to figure out how to do this, picking up, do you put it down first? What do you push? They are totally clueless, and none of them ever figure it out. It is so good. And it's like that. I got one. I don't know what to do with it. It's like, it's awkward to me. It's strange. I've seen it, but I don't know what to do once again. So how do you connect with somebody?
Especially a rotary.
Right. Oh my God, those videos are great. But,
that's so it's just figuring out how to log in and how to tune in and how to do it.
It is, absolutely. And there are ways of saying, and not everyone, they say, oh, well, you have this or that. There's abilities to this. And a lot of this, from where I started, was practice. And it's huge on knowing how to, for me, it was huge to know how to deliver the messages, as you know. And that I knew at the beginning with, what was her, I'm sorry, her name again? Satya.
Satya. Well, it was Tess, Satya, and then it turned into another Elsa. So that was kind of confusing with so many names, but all one person.
I remember in that beginning, I thought, as soon as I started, I'm like, oh, I know mom here that's in front of me on the screen is expecting a psychic reading. We're going to see what happened to her and where she's located. And I knew at the very beginning when the information started coming, I said, oh, she's not with us. She's on the other side. So the idea was, how do I enter this
Yeah.
knowing that I can't hit mom right away and say, oh, your daughter's not here. It's like, but how do we bring ourselves into this in a very loving, caring way, keep her in my hands, and bring this into a place where we can transition in a soft way that mom understands, and it's not going to just blow mom out of the water in that moment and scare her to death or just crush her. But it was like we were able to, transition that a little smoother. So
Right.
I think we want to care when we do these. That's the reason to do any of this stuff, that you care about somebody or you care about your own life and your own future or something that's important to you or situation. So I want to jump back to that little part of something we can do. So the things to raise your vibration. So if you're right now, and we were sitting here on this, I say, first of all, say if you're sitting back and you're slumped down or over the side, that's already you're at your 2. Okay. You're at your 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. And we want to get to 10 or as close as we can. So the first thing I would be is say, okay, you need to sit it up, straighten it up here. I'd say, like, there's something here to do. I'm all in. So the other one is to just immediately say that I'm in love. I'm love and light. That's the only thing I'm willing to work in here, that I'm in this space. To say, you can close your eyes if you like. I think that always works better. I think it's nice to start just feeling peaceful, like you just feel, get in tune with your breath for a moment, let that wash things out. And the next thing I do is just kind of feel like just empty. And I just say it, empty everything out of me. My fear right now, I'm tired, empty that. I've got something in mind. I'm thinking about my business. I'm thinking about a friend, that I just keep letting the wind blow through me, or that emptying out. And the next one, you can just give yourself a little sway. You're just kind of waking up your chakra a little bit. And you just kind of sway a little bit, like a tree might sway or something. What you're doing is keeping it light. And if you're thinking about what you're doing or how you're feeling, you already need to come back clear again. It's all about not feeling anything. You're not noticing anything. You're not looking for anything right now. And you just bring yourself to a nice, peaceful place to where you like, there's nothing here. And let yourself feel you go to the top. You can take your hands from the side of you even and just raise them. Just take your hands and just imagine that energy that's going right, of course, to your body, that you're just raising it up through your head and all the way to the top. And it shoots out like it just blasted off at the top. It's going to raise you already, just doing that type of thing. Anytime your hands are up, like I'll dance. If I have someone coming and about to hear at the door on the Zoom, I'll do a real dance thing and I throw my arms around in a circle and turn around like that. Thank God I can do it. And it's like, but it raises me in a second. It's just like, it's up here. It's up here. We're not looking to ground ourselves. This is not a grounding.
Oh, okay.
These are not a grounding. Ratings are up here. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So you don't want to think I'm grounding all the time. You want to be peaceful, but you want to raise your vibration.
Oh, that is so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It is. And then from there, you just allow the impressions to come in, because it's like you've cleared the room out. So new energy, new people can step in.
Yeah.
And if it's
just
not yours,
you're right. I think it's not yours. It's like that you're not in tune with you. And that's why I think it's good. Sometimes I wish I would have known some of this when I first started out, but that you're clearing, because you can be tired, and tired's all you got in you. And that's all you're thinking. Or you can be thinking about something else. This is not a thinking place. If you think about this, just let it go. Just stop. Just stop. Just don't even try. Start over. Because if there's any
like no analyzing, like no, like, oh,
no
this
thinking,
must
like
be
exactly right. Let it be. If you happen to see, oh gosh, I just went to dogs again, but I was with a guy who was a truck driver, and I remember he was sitting in front of me with his wife, and we're toward the end of the read, and I said, I knew where he was. I knew all about him. I knew things he'd done in the past and where he was headed to the future here. All these things came up, and I told him, I said, I keep seeing lots of dogs around you. I said, when we're talking about your work and career, it's like where you're going. And he says, and he just threw his head down in his face, down in his hands and between his legs, and was crying, this big truck driver guy. his wife starts crying, and he says, I used to be a dog trainer. He said it was the most fulfilling, loving thing I've ever done in my life. And he says, I got off course and I've been driving a truck for 10 years. And he says, I know, I'm going back. He says, I'm going back to it. He says, that's what made me alive, made me feel best in life. So, he sent me a letter something like a year ago saying that he had done that. I love that. And so what I'm saying is I'm seeing dogs. I'm seeing dogs. I need to position it, as you get more skilled in practice. Where does that belong? So, and dogs plural was more better by seeing dogs than seeing that. But I didn't question it. You get to the places practicing. You're not questioning it. It's like, oh, there's dogs. This person is associated with dogs, plural, not just a dog, and maybe you'll see the size of the type or whatever, but it'll have meaning to it. And just me doing that, I didn't have to say, oh, you used to have a bunch of dogs and you're going to do this and that, and the dog. I just let him know, I see a lot of dogs with you. I said, this is related to work, career, and why you're not happy. And he got it. You don't have to do anything more. It's like what comes through is exactly what someone needs to hear. That shifts your life, changes it for the better. That's a psychic type thing. Yeah.
That's okay. So there's two things I want to know. First of all, I definitely do want to tap in and see if you will help me tap into Gypsy, because not only is she beloved by me, but there's a whole community of people that are just Gypsy fans.
Yeah.
But there's also the notion of you are a world-renowned, and just a beloved psychic medium who I trust. I know where you're coming from. You're a dear friend. I feel very comfortable telling anybody to come to you and everybody to come to you if they really want the goods. And yet there's a lot of others out there that maybe aren't as skilled or aren't as integrous as you. And when people, myself included in the past, when I've gone to see a psychic, we're really open. We're really sometimes vulnerable to some of the things that are said. And sometimes the things that people say, especially like some people that have some ulterior motives that might want to hook you into coming back in because, oh, I see a dark spirit. Oh, bad things are going to happen. I can help you with that with a special little thing. It'll cost you $5 million. Sell your house. And how can we both be open and yet preserve our own sense of guidance while working with a psychic or developing?
So as a client, that'd be like as a client coming to a psychic or a medium. I say there's a couple things I tell everybody right away. If you are not getting details and you don't know right within the first 5 minutes of your reading, yes, that's who that person is. Or if it's about yourself in a psychic reading, yes, that's what I do, or whatever that comes up in those first 5 minutes. If you do not hear and you're not for certain that, yes, that's me, my life, and that's what's happening, I can identify everything about what's going on in your life before you tell me. That should be happening. Okay. For the most part, within that first 5 minutes, a medium, if I tell you, you say, oh, yes, your husband comes in, he was short and, he worked blue collar. It's like, I see him in an apartment with this. And you're like, oh, excuse me. First of all, he was 6'6". It's like, and like this. And I say, well, he had a bad attitude. And they're, no, it's like, he was the nicest man in the world. Everybody loved him, So it's like, it needs to be in the first 5 minutes. If it's not, you need to say thank you and go. Okay. And the second part to that is don't talk in the first 5 minutes. In that first 5 minutes, later on, when you know that for sure the psychic mediums in front of you is going to be a great experience here, that they are definitely in tune with my father. They are definitely know that this is for me. They're in tune with that. They got it. Then you can feel safe and go on, and you can give some nods later. Because I always say, does this make sense? They'll say, yes, or nod their head or something. But in the beginning, don't, someone will come in every blue moon. They'll say, oh, I say, I'm going through this thing right now with my husband. And I say, stop. I'll right away, I put my hand out, say, stop. I said, let's turn this around. I said, I need to be the one who's talking with you first. I said, we'll have some
Right.
time.
It's different than therapy where you're just like
Yes.
unleashing the beast
Right.
of all the energy
Yeah.
that's going on. It's like, no,
Right.
you tell me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
You tell me exactly. So, and I
Mm,
think that that's it later, in the beginning. So that first 5 minutes is really important. And you should know in the first 5 minutes, really easy. That's just what we're on here. We're on, because that makes you feel safe then. And it also makes you feel confident in this, and to where you're here and you're realizing you're receptive, and you're also going to get something that's really going to help you, you know.
mm.
So we all need to believe in something. And if you don't believe in it, you need to go.
I know we've got just a few minutes and I can't believe it, but I do you think that there's a power in, like, so if I wanted to tune into, I mean, I've lost so many dogs, my dog Priya, my dog Lola, my friend
Mm.
Gypsy, there's been a record number of losses.
Yeah.
But let's just say I want to tune into Priya, my dog that most recently passed. And if
Mm-hmm.
I have her leash, or if I have
Mm-hmm.
a blanket that she used to sleep with, like, does it help to hold on to a physical item that belonged to them or that they once loved?
Great question. Some people do. I know, like, some of the people we hear at Psychics and we see on TV and different things. Some of them want something. I think it's going to work different for everybody. If that was something that was going to clarify things more and give me more detail, I would do it. That's not my thing. I literally
Okay.
just I tune in and here we go. It's like, and I get that
Mm.
information. That's my way. It's real. I'm glad it's that way. It's like it just works for me. But if something else works and works, but once again, it needs to be in that first 5 minutes. I don't care what you got in your hand, what's going
Okay.
on.
Okay. And if we all, like me, a lot of people have a lot of people on the other side when they come to see somebody like you,
Yeah.
should they have somebody in particular that they want
Yes.
to connect with, but they don't
Yes.
tell you what that
Absolutely.
is?
Well, here's the way I do it. I have my way of doing it. Everybody does different. Even when I do big events, I like to know the first name of the person you want to get in contact. In fact, then when you do a request form on my website, it says on there,
Mm.
who would you like to be in contact?
Oh,
First
okay, great.
name only. I don't
Okay.
need a last name. But if you came in and you said, you got probably more than one person who's passed in your life. So if you come here and I'm talking, Uncle John comes in, you're like, I don't really want to talk to Uncle John. I was wanting to talk to my best friend, Sarah.
Hmm.
Well, Uncle John's here. You just said, I want to talk. Let's see, let's see what comes in. So it may not be necessarily the person, or at least right away, that you wanted. I personally always ask for the first name. For me, I feel this is a really sacred place. I consider this space I work in and who I'm connecting with very sacred. So in that, I like to be respectful and call the person by name. And sometimes what the clients say, can you say the first name of this person? But I like even knowing ahead of time, because I will start getting
Mm,
information even before we get going. All of a
mm.
sudden, Dave, Sarah wants to come here today. Do you have something? What do you want her to know, Dave? And boom, Dave's like, bing, bing, bing. And I'm like, okay, but got a few things down. And what that happens, it opens the door. But I love, for me, that doesn't have to work for everybody. I like the respect of addressing someone,
By name.
saying your first name, because their loved
Ah,
one knows. They know, that if it's Kelly's best friend, Dave, let's say Dave knows you're coming, but I would say Kelly's coming. It's important to her. What would you have her to know, Dave?
oh, okay. I want to get to this. I've got something else though. So, in terms of developing our psychic gifts, um, I have a hunch about this, but I'm curious about your perspective. And this kind of serves another purpose. I told people if they send me their dreams, then on this show I'll address them. But so here's a dream that somebody had. It ties
Mm-hmm.
into some synchronicity. So in the nutshell, Leilani dreams about this golden ladder that
Mm-hmm.
is taking her up, and she climbs up through the sky, kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk. It's kind of how I picture it. But she ends up meditating with a Buddhist monk who serves her tea, looks at her for a long time and says, "Well done." she's filled up, and then it keeps going. This is an epic dream where she continues to climb the ladder, and there's a Hindu female saint who meditates with her, serves her tea with rose petals this time, and in the end says to her as well, well done. And she keeps going. This progresses on and on until finally she gets to the top of this gold ladder, and there's a mirror, and she sits with herself, and she pours herself tea, and she looks in her own eyes, and the image in the reflection says to her, well done. So as she was telling me this dream, I'm listening to it in a voice memo a couple days ago. I was in real life and waking life. I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico at a casita, a little guest house from a friend of mine. And I happened to be, while I was listening to her on the phone, looking at this painting on the wall that I didn't even register until after. It was a golden ladder going up through the sky with, it looked like a Sufi dancing above the clouds, not even touching the golden ladder. And I thought, I didn't even know this painting was there. I hadn't even connected to it, but there was something in the sharing. So does synchronicity have anything to do with our ability to navigate our psychic gifts? And does it have a place where it ties in?
Yeah, I think I would say that, synchronicity is part of that. I always think it is part of your psychic ability. And we're not, sometimes it pops up, we're like, oh my God, it is. It's like, and just you have a piece, it doesn't mean you have to go develop it and I'm going to be a psychic now, or maybe you want more. But what I would say in that case is like, you were on a vacation, right? You're on vacation. My guess is in that time, you were in a space that was open, that you weren't concentrating on work or papers or book or anything,
Right.
It's like you were in a space that was more relaxed, and yet your vibration was high because you were in some joy, right? So you're connecting already. So I don't know that you would have recognized that, or that would have happened at that time had it not be. So to me, I feel that these are connections that we make. Like you and I, if someone's listening right now, they're going to get that our vibration between the two of us is higher, right? Okay. As opposed to, sitting back here, it's like, it'd be, this is like, I'm going to get a drink. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Who are you? And why are you Zooming with me?
Don't expect much. Expectations of. But when we're here, we start connecting. Even when you talked about the helicopter, because that was something I wanted to bring up today, And you said something earlier at the beginning. I'm like, okay, that's another piece that, I want to bring in. So we're already connecting because we're working together. We're in a space and it's up here. So you have someone's client that's getting connecting with you. You're in a space. It doesn't have to be concentrating or trying to get in a space. Sometimes we just are, like the dancing. I got lost in the music. I didn't even know anything else was going on. I was just there. You're at your 10.
Yes. Oh, that's great. And I want to say, just for Leilani, I think, speaking of high vibe, this is the kind of dream. And by the way, I think anytime anybody hears a dream, even if it's not their own, that puts them in a high vibe, you don't have to have FOMO. You can, it's like, it becomes everybody's dream. So I think one, just to insert in this conversation, is this golden ladder that takes us up beyond the earth, beyond the sky, beyond where our mind leaves off, and takes us to that place where we recognize that even if we haven't done all the things that we thought we were supposed to do, or accomplished everything on the ground floor of our human life, we've done a good job. Well done. Well done and I thought, that's kind of funny wordplay. My last name is Walden. I sometimes think it's like well done or walled in, but no, well done. So I think sometimes that at least gives us, if nothing else, it tunes us into the fact that we're in a higher vibe, because I don't think we can acknowledge those synchronicities if we're not. Okay. That's great.
We do that. We say, in business, why would you make a big business decision when you're not feeling good? Why would you make a big decision in your life about what you're going to do next, or if you're going to buy this or break up or get with that person, whatever it is, why would you ever make a decision and a choice based on I'm feeling dumpy, I don't feel good right now, I am tired, I'm exhausted. And we make bad choices in that place because we're in the two, we're doing two, and I want to make a life decision. So this applies here. You know, what's happening is when we raise that vibration, we do something to lift us, that makes us feel good, that makes us light, that makes us higher. We come up with better suggestions.
Isn't that's kind of an interesting thing, because I mean, this is sort of beyond just psychic mediumship. This is about life principles in general, because I think a lot of us break up with our relationships, or we leave a place or leave a job because we're pissed off, we're not feeling good. And we might think, well, if I was feeling good, I wouldn't leave. It's like, yeah, you like, life might take you in a different direction, but you don't have to leave with a slamming of the door and a throwing the ring across the room and an F you and it could just be like, what if you're in a high vibe and it's still time to go, but you don't leave anybody feeling like they're roadkill, like you leave people better than you found them.
Yes, that's still all possible. I think it plays out in all life. It's when you said earlier about, you know, when we're high emotion, and when I say high, I should say more powerful emotion that has us down, and you're running at, like, again, I say vibration 1 to 2, and you know, ideally 10s, which we're not there all the time. But it's like you're down here, say you can't feel and you can't hear and you can't see that person that you would love to be so much. It's the same in those decisions we're trying to make in choices. When we're down here at 2, you know, make sure I try to be that. I'm going to write a book, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do this. I say, what should be the name of the book? You know, it's like, I've been going over this. I am so exhausted right now, but I got to come up with the name of the book. Like, wow, can't wait to read that. Yeah. Right?
I don't know. I don't care. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. So we're bringing the same thing as it does. You know, it is a very general, universal, so to say, type of approach. It's like, but it makes a huge difference. And yes, it's like, when we're up here, we're in more love places. We're here where all the possibilities exist. And that's like what I'm able to do. It's exist up here because I'm working up here and I can connect, you know, with you or anybody else through here. So that's passed on. So that's what we have available to us, you know. So I always say, lift yourself when it's time for life choices, when it's time to make some big decisions. Make sure you're working up here. If you're not, just put it off. Give yourself permission to not do it now.
And one of the easiest ways to do it is to lift those hands, dance around. And I would say, even imagine that you're on that golden ladder and you're lifting up, or on that helicopter that's and it's spinning. So I know we're at the edge of our time. Do you have like 2 more minutes? Do you have?
I do.
So Rick Newhouse on my Facebook page said, my memory is not what I once remember thinking it was, but I'm almost sure. Oops, can you hear me still? Let me put in my other earbud. My memory is not what it once was, but I remember thinking, I once saw Quick Tips open for the Jesse Ross band at Panama Reds. What? Psychic Kicks opening for All Star Frogs? Okay, I have no idea what you're trying to say, Rick, but I'm so happy that you're sharing, and that's awesome. Okay, in the time we have remaining, maybe I'm just not reading it right. Are you getting any hits on my beloved gypsy who passed?
You know, it's like when you say, I always try to, usually a lot of times I get hit right away, or something just feels like it's not real strong, but she does come in right away. And interesting, it's like there, you know, things mean positions, and things mean for us for different ones. I won't go into where I see her and what's happening, but it's like, what I know is she's big. Okay. Big in life, big in body, big, just big. Okay. There's a bigness here that really comes in there. It's very large. She's at the top right. For me, that means that she had a lot of influence. Okay. It means that she was very, how would I say this? I want to say powerful. She was also, interestingly, she lets, you know, it's like that she wasn't doing exactly what she wanted to do. There was something else that felt like it was not totally in alignment for her. But she was still happy. Does that make sense? But she let herself be happy. But it wasn't quite in alignment with her. But she knew she had a place in this life. She knew that she was influencer, someone that's very helpful. She shows me her mouth a lot, so I know she spoke a lot. Okay, with a lot of speaking here, but she shows me her mouth being large, and it just feels smiley when I see her.
She had cancer on
So
her tongue, so at the
okay,
end she really
she
wasn't
showed.
speaking.
Okay, so she's showing me the mouth a lot here, so it's like makes sense with that. But I knew that she had a lot of joy in sharing, and her sharing and her speaking, what she had to say. Yeah, she talks about her head. Let's say so that goes in line with that. That I feel pain actually. With her, it's like I would just say this. What's the animal association with her?
Her last animal was Sasha, Sasha, is that the name of that was her other pet? She had a dog named Sasha. I'm kind of
Okay.
Tasha
Now,
and then Sasha. Tasha and
okay.
Sasha. The last
Okay.
one was Tasha. Sasha.
Okay, this would be Tasha. This would be
Okay.
Tasha. Though, not sorry, Sasha was the emphasis. She just turned him over. These two dogs know each other?
No, she had one that would when she passed, the dog passed around the time that her 2-year-old daughter passed. So she always put Hilly and Tasha together.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the
She
last
keeps
dog
talking
she had
about
was Shasta.
Okay, just get an emphasis. I feel like maybe these are with her, that she's just talking about that because she has an animal connection that feels strong.
Oh,
so
good.
With her.
Oh.
Did she have other kids? Who else?
Yeah, she's got Bella and Luma. They're my goddaughters.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this too, because I keep hearing two from her. So she's going like this. It's funny she doesn't go like this. She's going like this. I can see her going like this. It's like, oh, love. So it's like that. So that's one of my little traits. I like to hold up how many it is when I hear it, but I like to ask. And very, very close. It's like when she's saying mellow, she's talking about mellow when she talks about one of the girls. This has to do with this has to be with the younger one. She shows her bigger, like she's under right now.
Under.
She's under. Yeah, there's something she's under right now. The fifth, there's something heavy with her in her life right now. Do you know?
Oh, I think both daughters they're doing better than I thought they would do, but they're both devastated at the loss of their mom. They're both young women.
Okay. The younger ones, wait. The other one, the one she's having some trouble, I believe this has to do with food. Okay. And I think this is kind of coming with it. I don't think there's something strange or something to be concerned about. It's just that she's letting me know what's happening with her. Kelly's like, it's interesting. She keeps talking like your back, like massaging your back. She's got your back. That? Yeah, like she has your back. It's like, I got your back. Interesting, because it's like, she's not coming out to lead with you. She doesn't walk with you, but she wants to support you. Did you not see her at the very end?
I missed her by a second. She died like 1 second before I walked in. Yeah,
because she's just saying she's just that, and that's why she's kind of giving you the massage, like it's okay, it's okay.
It's funny. She would always do this thing also, like she would like, I'm gonna grab you. I love you so much, like this.
Okay, and that's why I always give the motions, whatever they give me, because this is what
she
they
would
do.
This a lot, like even just.
Yeah. So that makes sense. This is one of those things that comes through that lets you know it was her. It's like, I love how that happens because they bring in personality as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop there, but it's like, let that be what that is.
Yeah. Thank you. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I really appreciate you. And I so love the tips that you've given us. And I love that you brought in some gypsy energy. That's just so special to me. And I think that we're all this is a time in our lives where we all need to develop our psychic gifts a little bit more. I think it can't hurt. I think it just would make us better, more compassionate, tuned in people, and high vibe people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Timothy Courtney, Palm Springs psychic. You are such a gift. Thank you so much. I know you've got your TikTok channel is happening. Is there anything else that you want to tell anybody about to check you out? What are some things that we could tell people to do?
I think, I don't know if there's anything particular at this moment, except for, if there's something that you feel in this that you're feeling led to, you feel guided, you're feeling a little push right now from God, the universe, or someone from the other side, I encourage you to follow through. Follow through with that. There's a reason if you're feeling someone, especially on those side, or something that you're looking for more in your life, but you just can't quite identify. There's something that's being there for you. That's part of your psyche there, as being in tune to that and then saying yes to it. I just encourage, always find someone who's good. Ask people about who do you know. Look at some Google reviews. That's not always going to be the thing in there, but it's like, I would check things out and find out. Remember the rule. Don't talk right away. You can talk later in it, but don't talk in the right away. In the first 5 minutes, you should know exactly whether or not this is the real deal.
Timothy Courtney, Palm Springs psychic medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. Everybody check out his website, palmspringspsychicmedium.com, to find out more about Timothy. And if in the meantime, while you're developing your own psychic gifts, you want to work with the master, then book a session with Timothy. You won't regret it. You are just an angel in human form. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Kelly. I love you.
I love you too.
Thanks for having me here today.
Sweet
love
dreams,
you.
my friend. Thank you for listening to the Kelly Sullivan Walden Show. If you enjoyed this episode, take a moment to like, subscribe, comment, and share it with your friends. My show can be found on Apple iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to pre-order my new book, A Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste, go to your favorite online or brick and mortar retailer, then head on over to kellysullivanwalden.com/tragic2magic. Input your order number and redeem your bonus gifts. I'm also excited to be offering a new live DreamWork practitioner training. So if that calls to you, go to kellysullivanwalden.com/dreamwork. If you'd like to join me for the live recording of these shows, most Wednesdays at noon Pacific, you can find me on Facebook at Kelly Sullivan Walden Dreams. If you have a question about your dreams or about how to transform your tragic into magic, email me at kelly@kellysullivanwalden.com. Until next time, remember, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And as you awaken to the power of your dreams, you make the world a lighter, brighter, more beautiful place, one dream at a time. Sweet dreams.